Yes. Namaste everyone. Today is Natural Equilibrium Group 50th webinar, and today's topic is mental preparation required for pregnancy and childbirth. And this is based on the unbelievable but true experiences of Roopa Rao. And just introduction about her. She is a soft skill and language trainer. She has a degree in counseling, psychology. She is a postgraduate in English, NLP certified coach, avid traveler, and a gardener. And just to give about the another introduction, when I had a first meetup in Hyderabad, I mean, before we put the banner of called Natural Equilibrium Group, and she was the first participant to came for this organic terrace gardening webinar with a smiling face. And now we are today we are going to complete 50th webinar, 33 meetups, 7 days training program in Ayurveda, and many more activities. Now we are 15 plus groups with 3,000 live members, active participants, and I'm happy to host Roopa Rao Garu to give most important, to share our experiences in having a mental preparation for pregnancy. With all this, I will hand over to Roopa Rao Garu. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Sudhir, for that wonderful introduction. It's a great pleasure to be a part of this webinar today, and I would like to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. To everybody else, namaste, good evening, and a very warm and a hearty welcome to this webinar on mental preparation for pregnancy and childbirth. These are my personal experiences. I have 2 kids, a daughter and a son. And I'd like to start my screen sharing now. I hope you're able to see this one now.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So just to restate the topic, mental preparation for pregnancy and childbirth, and they are based on my experiences. I think let's start with what's the need for this topic in the first place. Do we really need any mental preparation for these kind of topics? Do we need any mental preparation for pregnancy and childbirth, etc.? One is that it's a life-changing event, and change means a challenge. Hence, we need to be prepared. The better we are prepared, the better way that we can sort of, handle a situation like this. Now, the reason also why it is a challenge is that there's total emotional involvement. There's a thrill, there's a newness, there's a joy, there's a tension. And what happens is with all these planning and everything, there's also a fear. What kind of fears? Fears that there might be problems with the pregnancy or the baby, or problems with, for the woman, there's always a fear that there'll be weight gain, there'll be weird food cravings, the aches, the moods, the changes in the body shape. You'll never be able to fit into the clothes that you're so used to wearing all the time. And the most important or the most highlighted fear is the fear of childbirth, the labor, the pain. I mean, there are so many horror stories about this, about the prolonged labors, about the complicated deliveries, etc., etc. Also, when there is this newness about parenthood, there'll be a role. You've been a wife till now, you've been a husband till now, now you're becoming a mother, a father. Maybe you need to stop your work. There'll be a new baby in the house, and maybe you'll get obsessed with the baby and new attachments that are being created. And for some people, there's also the worry. Are you going to be a good parent? What kind of financial management do I need to do? And for some of them, if it's the second pregnancy, the second baby, then there'll be another child which is going to demand the attention and the energy, right? So what I would like to share today is my simple way to understand and overcome these fears. Okay. And how am I going to do this? By getting back to the basics, by actually connecting to nature. I'm going to give you an overview of pregnancy and childbirth in mammals. Just let's talk a little bit about how human childbirth takes place. Also, and this is very important, I think this is what I bring value to this webinar, how to reframe your language for childbirth, the way I did it, what kind of changes to expect, how to handle them, a mention of some untold story, some things you really not know unless somebody who's gone through the experience tells you. There's a lot of reality which hits the woman hard. Briefly about what lies ahead when a child is born. What's the role of the spouse during this time? I want to make it very clear, this is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a gynecologist. What worked for me, I'm sharing with you all today. These are purely personal experiences and learning, which have helped many young women. Why am I doing this webinar? Because I've shared my experiences with so many young ladies, and they tell me, Roopa, the way you have explained what happened with you, the way you've shared your experiences, it's like we have a lot of confidence. We have a lot of reassurance from your experiences. So thank you so much. That's what they've told me. And that's why I have the courage to share this experience with you. This is going to be a lively session. Please interact. Please use the chat box to express yourself. It could be as simple as, wow, amazing, not nice, good, bad, whatever. Unmute yourself to ask questions. And also when I request you to respond, because I have a couple of questions coming up now, and I really would love to hear your answers. Yes or no, just quick questions, quick answers. Yes, no, etc. Right? Thank you so much. Now with this, we will go on to, and I want to state that this story begins from the confirmation of pregnancy. We are not starting from before the pregnancy, not the fun and the action parts. Will hopefully benefit couples who are planning for a baby soon. Currently pregnant women, yes, they will definitely understand what I'm talking about. New moms, to some extent, it's going to benefit. It's going to also help anybody who wishes to understand the mental process towards preparing for change, because pregnancy and childbirth is definitely about change. I'd like you all to just take a few seconds to think about a 9-month pregnant Australian woman. Okay. Now, think about a 9-month pregnant British woman. Think about a 9-month pregnant Indian woman. Think about a 9-month pregnant African woman. Yeah, now get into your mind the image of a 9-month pregnant American woman. Yeah, so you have all those images in mind. Can you tell me, do you remember their faces? I'd like you to unmute yourself. It's okay, I can't hear you. I'd like to hear your responses. Can you, did you really think of their faces? Did the faces come in first for you all?
Yeah, Roopa, because you need a live response from interaction, we are going to unmute all. Yeah,
yes,
participants, you can unmute yourself. You can now you can unmute yourself and you can interact. Yeah. No, Roopaji, you are muted yourself.
So yeah. when the images of those 9-month pregnant women came in, what really did you see in your minds? Can you just tell me?
Hi,
I could
Sandhya
see only
here.
the fully grown baby.
Yeah, carry on.
Exactly. I think we saw less of the women's faces and more of the belly and bumps.
One baby bump. Yeah,
baby bump. Anybody else? Anybody else would like to pitch in? What did you see?
In India, malnourished women.
Uh-huh.
In other countries, obese, all supplements, craving, all the medical test, fringy kind of supporting system.
Sure. Okay. So the point that I want to make is when you think of a 9-month pregnant woman, you are not really looking at the phases. All you see are those huge big bellies, right? And here I would like to say that one pregnant woman easily connects with another pregnant woman. So whether it's a 9-month-old African woman or a 9-month-old Indian woman or a 9-month-old woman from America, I'm sure they all have this kind of a connection because they are all in the same state. They're all in the same frame. And this phrase that I use now, connect with, is something that I'm going to say again and again. And that is the reason I wanted you to have this imagination and know that all these women are actually connected with each other because of the state that they are in. And yeah, so I'd like to start off asking some questions now that you have the image of that 9-month pregnant woman here. Do you know anyone who was healthy and hearty throughout pregnancy with absolutely no complications? Please just answer with a yes, no. Whoever is the participants, I don't know how many participants there are, but you can just say yes, no. Yeah, nobody?
You got one no, one yes.
One yes, okay. Yes. Do you know anybody who used to go cycling to visit her mother in the third trimester? Yes, no, whatever.
No.
No. Okay. Do you know anyone, a 9-month pregnant woman who worked full-time professionally till one day before delivery?
Yes.
No in current time, yes in olden times.
Yes, in olden times. Okay.
Yes, in current times also. I had some colleagues who had worked until the last day.
Okay, great. Now, yeah. Do you know anybody who walked to the hospital for the first delivery cool and calm and smiling and chatting?
I think yes. Nowadays, many people are aware.
Okay, right. Do you know anybody who delivered her first baby in 45 minutes?
No.
Do you know anybody who delivered the second baby in 30 minutes?
Never.
And also somebody who did all of the above, did not get an epidural or any other analgesic. Okay. Now, Sudhir, you have to let me know what's going on in the chat because I see there are 17 chats, but I...
Yeah. So, I mean, many are no, few are yes. So you want me to tell which one has more no's and yes?
Yeah. Just tell me whether there are, especially for my last few questions. And all of the above, I don't know whether you have many yeses.
Yeah. So for the last questions, we have many no's.
Okay, fantastic. So I just want to let you know, we are talking about me. So it's true. And I'm the one that did all these things.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'd like to now tell you some of my funny stories. So we'll just go back step by step and just look at this. So was healthy and hearty throughout pregnancy. I think many people would like to be this way. No nausea, no puking, no vomiting. Cycling to visit her mother. Here, I don't think we really see lots of pregnant women cycling. I don't know why. But I did that. I used to do that. Who worked full-time professionally till one day before delivery. And who walked to hospital for first delivery. Now, it was a Monday morning. I'm talking about 25th July. My husband and I were getting ready to go to work. I need to tell you this story so that you'll understand how it happened.
Yeah.
It was 6:30 in the morning. My husband leaves for work very early. I had packed breakfast and lunch. I was 9 months pregnant. My due date was August 15th, according to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the first floor. My husband went down. At that time, we had an LML Vespa and he kick-started it. He had his lunch pack with him. I went to the bathroom to get ready to go to work. I'm at the sink and my water broke. Hot water flowing down my legs. I knew that my water broke. I came to the balcony. My husband was down there. And I told him, Anil, come up, come up. And he had started his vehicle. He just looked up at me like that. And he said, what happened? I said, come up, just come up. And he's showing me his watch. And he's saying, it's getting late for me. I told him, look, come up, my water broke. And we're shouting from the first floor. So he came up and I told him, listen, I'm in labor now. I've started labor medically, technically. What you need to do is time my contractions, okay? So I was already starting to have contractions and it was about 7 to 8 minutes between contractions. He had absolutely no idea what to do. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to take a shower and then I'm going to pack something. And then the hospital is not very far away. It's right across. In fact, I can see the hospital from my house balcony. So we'll walk there. And you can call my mom and dad and you can let them know and they can meet us here. So he said, yeah, sure. I'm going to do that. So he called. And what I did was I just changed my clothes. I had a shower. I was absolutely calm. And I told him, I'm getting another contraction now. Time it. And this time the contractions were about 6 minutes apart. I said, let's go. My parents had come by then. And they were, like, you're going to go walking? Are you mad? Come on. I said, no, ma, it's okay. It's okay. It's close by. So we started walking, locked the door. And see, even though the hospital is close by, the corridor to the maternity ward is like 1 kilometer away to get into the hospital, go to the left, go to the right, then go to the corridor, and then go to the maternity ward. So we started walking. On the way, the tree that I found, I used to hold tight, let my contraction pass, and then start walking again. Then I found an electric lamp pole, hold the lamppost tightly until my contraction passed and then go. I reached on the way to the maternity ward. My friend who had come there, Sabita, the physiotherapist, she is like, hi, Roopa, how are you? What are you doing these days? This is my husband. You've never met him, This is Vincent. And, it's so nice. I've told him about you. And I'm like, Sabita, it's really nice to meet your husband. I'd love to talk to him, but if you don't mind, I'm in labor and my contractions are now coming every 4 minutes. So I'll just go to the labor room. So it was like that. Then I went to the labor room. Dr. Sulabha, she was on duty. I told the nurse over there, I'm getting contractions every 3 minutes. I think, there's really no time for anything. And Dr. Sulabha, she said, 3 minutes, are you timing it? I said, yes. She said, okay, come on, lie down on the table. And then I was on the table. She took one look and she said, I can see the head. I said, fine, fantastic, okay. And then she told the Ayama, you better get stuff ready. And then the contractions were coming, strong contractions. 8 a.m., I was on the table. I was talking to Dr. Sulabha. And I was telling her, how's your daughter, ma'am? Did she get admission into anything? She wrote the MSET, right? And how's your gardening going on? What are you doing? And Dr. Sulba looks at me like this. And she says, primi gravida. You're a primie. First pregnancy. You're delivering like this. Just do your job. Shut up, okay? Don't talk to me. I'll do my job and you do yours. So I said, fine, okay. She doesn't want to talk. And then 8:45, the baby was out. And then I asked Dr. Sulabha, ma'am, is the placenta out? And, my legs were like this. She wears big glasses. She just looked up at me and she said, do you want me to pack it for you? You want to take it home? And I'm like, no, ma'am. Oh, God, I'm asking the wrong questions. Till this day, I don't know why she was upset when I asked her about the placenta. I mean, it was my placenta, right? But anyway, so then, so that was the story of my first pregnancy. The second pregnancy, it was 2:30 in the morning, and the water broke. I had to wake up my husband, and he said, "Your water broke. Okay, now he's ready." He said, "Shall I time the contractions?" I said, "Yes, yes, yes, you should." So he started timing the contractions, and it was like, again, 7 minutes, 8 minutes or so. My sister was there. She came and she took my daughter, who was at that time 5.5 years old. I told her, take her and we'll do what we need to do and come back. My parents came, and then we went to the hospital. This time I couldn't walk because it was pretty far off, and I knew my contractions were much closer. So we were sitting in the car, and my husband is like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Hello, do you want me to deliver the baby in the car?" And he looks at me and he says, "No, don't deliver the car. That's going to mess it up, right?" I said, "Yeah, you better go fast." So we went fast. I was on the labor table at 3 a.m. And guess who was on night duty that day? Dr. Sulabha. So she came, she took one look at me, and in Telugu, she said, "Ee pillana, 20 నిమిషాల్లో అయిపోతది. Ayamma tondar cheyi." What it means is that this girl, okay, so she's going to deliver really fast, and she told the helper, "Get the things done fast." 3:30, my son was out. This is the kind of deliveries I had. Where was the time for any epidural or for any other analgesic? Now, I have one question, and I'd like you to unmute yourself and please let me know, share what your thoughts are. What strikes you about my experience?
Yeah, I mean, we can't, I'm not able to believe that in this current days, these things can happen. And we are talking to such a person who went through that experience.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
sure.
know her from last 2.5 years very well.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Would you like to share what strikes you about my experience?
It looks more natural, just like how our cows deliver.
How our cows deliver. Fantastic. Anybody else? Anybody else? Would you like to share? Is there anything on the chat that I need to know, Sudhir?
Yeah, too good to be true, can't believe.
Can't believe, absolutely. So you see, unbelievable experience. That's what,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, right. So one, I'd like to just highlight a couple of points. One, how easy it all seemed. And two is how normal and natural it was, how relaxed and calm. I was in my senses throughout. Also, did I use the word pain any time in my narration? Did the word pain come up anywhere in my narration? No, it did not. My level of awareness of what was going on, I was very aware of my body and what was going on. I was very, very aware of everything that was going on. And also my level of physical activities the whole time, the walking, the talking, my ability to be so normal, my mental state and connection to everything. I believe I must have done something right, and hence I am qualified to discuss this topic with you all. I'm going to take you through a couple of pictures, and I'd like you to just spend a few seconds looking at them. Humpback whale. Can you believe that this is a mammal as well? This is a mammal, a baby squirrel with its newborn. This is a mammal. Just look at them. This is a mammal. This is our very close relative, a mammal. This is a mammal. This is also a mammal. And this is a mammal. Take a look at these pictures, and I want to ask you, is there anybody in this audience of 26 people who doesn't have a smile on their face while looking at this? Is there anybody who doesn't feel a connection with these beautiful creatures? I don't think there's anybody who cannot connect with them.
Yes.
This is also a mammal. Okay. Now, all my experiences are based on that connection. This is a human fetus, so beautifully placed in that amniotic fluid. You can see the umbilical cord that connects it to the placenta. A human fetus, this is how it is. You will be amazed. Look at this baby dolphin in the uterus, in the amniotic fluid. There is the umbilical cord connected to the placenta. Look at this elephant, one of my favorite creatures. Again, you can see the umbilical cord. You can see it's in the amniotic fluid. So beautiful. We have so much in common. So much in common that in the embryo stage, you can't even distinguish which is the cow embryo, which is the human embryo, which is the horse embryo, which is the cat embryo. See, that is the kind of connection which we have. All animals have a sense of doing it naturally. That person who said your experience seems like just like that of a cow's is absolutely correct. My experience was like that. Why? Because we are all mammals. We are all in the same natural world. And we are all connected so beautifully. For animals, it is just drop the baby. That's all. They learn on the go. What hospital do they go to? Which gynecologist looks at them? What do they do? Human births are also meant to be the same, natural and normal and easy and wonderful. The crux of my talk is make that connection. Make that connection. There are 3 simple facts which cover this entire webinar and which is the crux, the framework of my mental framing, which I believe led me to have such an experience for pregnancy and childbirth. The first one, I am a placental mammal. The belief, the absolute connection. I'm a placental mammal. See, mammals are of 3 kinds, the monotremes, the marsupials, and the placentals. We belong to the placental mammals. I'm a part of this natural, wonderful, beautiful kingdom around me. Connect and feel like you're a part of this whole beautiful natural kingdom, the animal world. It might sound like, weird and strange, but when I showed you the pictures, didn't you feel that thing in your heart? Didn't you feel that in your mind? Oh my God, so beautiful. We are so much a part of a beautiful world. Unfortunately, we sort of disconnected. We don't really get back down to the basics of where we are, what we are. I am a placental mammal. And pregnancy, childbirth, and lactation are normal and natural for all healthy female mammals. This is something we need to understand. I am a human being. Yes, I'm special, fine. But at the end of the day, I am a female mammal and I am in connect with all these beautiful creatures around me. That is the mental framework that I have. The third and the most important one is the uterus contracts very hard to expel the fetus. The uterus contracts really hard to expel the fetus. We should welcome this process. It is not pain, it is a contraction. I never use the word pain during any of my narration because it is not pain, it is a contraction. In this entire world on planet Earth, I don't think there is any woman who has gone to a gynecologist and told her, doctor, ma'am, sir, please, can you extend my pregnancy by 1 month? Ma'am, can you please let me know how I can extend my pregnancy by another 16.5 days? No woman is ever going to say this because naturally it is inbuilt. Once the gestation period is over, the uterus has to expel the fetus and you must have your baby in hand. So it is simply doing its function so beautifully. It is such a wonderful dynamics of your hormones, of your brain, of your pituitary glands and the entire endocrine system. So beautiful. So think of it as a contraction. What is the uterus doing? It is expelling the fetus. It is letting the baby enter the outside world. If you think of it as a pain, I think you will just end up with that. So these are the 3 simple facts which cover the entire webinar, which is my mental framing. Understanding the process is very important, according to me. Pregnancy is not a disease. Don't confine yourself with too many do's and don'ts. Oh my God, I should not sit here. I should not watch that. I should read only this. I should do that. I should not eat this. I should eat this. Use your instincts. Empower yourself with correct knowledge. Be aware of all the changes that are going on in your body. Be aware of the happenings. And how will you know what's happening? By studying, by reading. Empower yourself with correct knowledge. Don't just look up some website or something. Buy a textbook if required. You will understand exactly what changes are going on in your body, and you will be so very aware, and you will be able to connect with what's going on. It's very important. That's a very important part of mental preparation, according to me. Again, pregnancy and childbirth are normal and natural happenings in a female mammal's life, and that includes us women. Have the body reassurance and confidence in yourself. Be confident that your body is doing the right thing, that your hormones will do the right thing, that your brain will do the right thing. Accept and enjoy the changes. You keep complaining, oh my God, this is what's happening to me. Oh my God, I don't want this. I can't bear this. No, it's happening, right? You got pregnant. Now you need to know how to understand until the end. The end is what? The uterus expelling the fetus. So just get this stuff into your head. It's really simple. Make that connection, and I think it's going to be wonderful. 3 things which I did. 1, I understood the process thoroughly. 2, I was very aware of and I accepted all the changes that happened. Everything happened to be. See, when I gained a lot of weight, and I used to have some sort of a swelling here and there, I used to have these aches and pains, but I know that, it is what is supposed to be. I used to travel a lot for work. 1 hour I used to sit in the bus. And especially during my first pregnancy, when the movements and all that are so new, when I was in the bus, I don't know, my baby inside used to be extremely active. And then I used to sit in the bus, and then one hand would come up like that, one leg would come up like that. And you could see all the things, and it was so funny. I used to laugh loudly in the bus. Because my baby was doing all these funny things inside, and I'm like, okay, she's kicking so much. I don't know, she doesn't like the bus, or maybe she likes it. I don't know. People would look at me and say, "Nautu nawa? I mean, are you laughing?" I said, yes, I am laughing because that's the best thing to do. What else can you do, right? So be aware of and accept the changes that happen. Enjoy it if possible. Visualize the process. Visualize what's happening. The ones yes, the hormonal change is going to be this way. I'm in the last week of my pregnancy, and this might happen. The water might break, and this is going to happen. Visualize how it will be. See, you can be prepared to a certain extent, but only the experience will tell you how it is. When my water broke, I had no idea the water is so hot, and I was like, what's this hot water flowing down my legs? And then I read, and the amniotic fluid is actually warmer than the mother's body temperature. That's why it's so hot. But unless you experience it, you won't know. And you have to just accept it. If the water broke, be aware, yeah, my water is breaking. I'm not saying that everything is going to be as easy and as wonderful as it was with me, because, everybody is different. It happens differently. But the mental preparation helps. It definitely helps. So now look at that slide again. The one that I asked you the questions about. That I was healthy and hearty throughout pregnancy. There were no complaints. I used to go cycling. I worked full-time professionally. I walked to the hospital. I delivered my kid in 30 minutes. And, it is what it is meant to be, just like any other creature, just like any other placental mammal. That, now it sounds like, okay, so, yeah, so it's normal. It's okay. It's fine. Nothing that's impossible here. I also want to mention this, and again, this is not medical advice. Like I said, I'm just sharing what I did. I used easy delivery pills so my dad, right from my childhood, not much into allopathy. We were very healthy kids. Nothing used to happen to us ever. But anytime we had, like tiny problems, my dad was always like, no, we will go to a homeopath. I used easy delivery pills both times. So this is something I'm sharing with you. They're just minerals which sort of, I don't know what they do to the body or what they don't do. However, I did go in for homeopathy easy delivery pills for both my pregnancies. A very important connection is between physical fitness, nutrition, and mental well-being. Nutrition, I'm not going to bring it up at all because I know that Sudhir has invited a lot of people to talk about the nutritional aspect. So you know it all, I'm not going to talk about it. Mental well-being, again, acceptance, be joyful in what's happening. Give yourself a lot of self-love. You're doing something so wonderful. You are actually carrying that baby inside yourself and you're helping it grow. And, every RBC, every WBC, everything in you is going to that baby and you're sharing so much. So give yourself a lot of self-love. Be tolerant of yourself and of others. It's very easy to get irritated with other people and also, wonder, why is this happening to me? But you just need to accept it and be tolerant of all those changes. Physical fitness, here is a very important tip I want to give you. And this is what my grandmother told me, And she said, Kelage kutko. Kelage kutko means sit down in Kannada, which is what we speak at home. And many people think that once you're pregnant, oh my God, it's so delicate, don't do this, don't do that, don't lift a bucket, don't sit here, don't sit there, down, oh my God, you're going to sit down. No. Sit down cross-legged for as long as possible every single day. It stretches your pelvic muscles, it conditions and tones the entire pelvic system which is there, and it's going to help you so much when you are actually doing the contraction, when 10 to 12 centimeters of head has to come out through your pelvis. It's going to really help you when you have all that conditioned muscles. Okay, when they're used to stretching, it'll be really easy for you. I did a very simple thing. I have a lot of hobbies, and one hobby which I picked up during my second pregnancy was clay pot painting and embossing. And I chose a really big pot to do the painting, and to do the clay pot painting, you have to sit down. You have to sit down, hold the pot in your lap, and then you need to paint it and emboss it. Every single day, I would sit for at least 1 hour down. This is a tip I really would like to share. Lots of people would say that, don't sit down and sit on the sofa and stuff. But I say sit down cross-legged as much as possible. How are we humans different then? I mean, why is it that we make things this way? How is it that we don't get this instinct to do things normally or naturally? We have the concept of currency. That's one thing. And here I'd like to ask you people, how do you think we humans are different? Can anybody just pitch in and say, or you could share it on the chat. How do you think we humans are different?
We have intellectual, we can foresee, we can prepare.
Excellent, Sudhir. The points that you have brought out are actually parts of my thing. So I just began with this. We have the concept of currency. That's something that makes us really different. There's a book recommendation that I'd like to give you here, if possible. In fact, you must read up Homo Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, an excellent book, I would recommend it to everybody. We are much, much more complex in our needs, our lives, our desires. We have goals, we have aims, we have ambitions. And that's how we are different. Also, we have the power of imagination, of visualization, of creativity, the brain, the frontal lobe, which is very highly developed in humans. This is the part that gives us the power of imagination, of visualization, of being able to foresee. We have created the means, the comfort, the medical facilities that keep us healthy if we get sick. We have limited childbirths. In this day and age, one child is the norm almost. Some people may go in for 2 kids. Limited childbirths as compared to the rest of the animal kingdom. That's what I'm saying. We can be forewarned and we can be prepared. It's exactly what you said. And we can think. Now, this thinking, when it goes off, then it can lead to some problems. Because sometimes thinking may take us away from the present. And we may not accept that what happens, happens. So that's what happens if you think too much. So my suggestion would be quit overthinking and be in the present. The questions that a woman may have, now your deliveries are done. You have delivered and you've come back home. And you will say, I did everything right. I ate properly. I exercised. I actually listened to this webinar and I sat down on the floor. And then mentally also, I tried to do everything right. But I ended up with a cesarean. I had a long, complicated labor. Oh my God. I mean, she said things are so easy, but it really didn't turn out. I had to go for a surgery. Why was it not normal? What did I do wrong? What happened? Very simply, nothing is wrong. It's just the way it was meant to be. Every woman's body may respond as it is, the anatomy, the physiology, the proportions, the condition, the fitness levels, the mental strength may be very, very different for different women. So I think being in the present and just accepting that what happens, happens is also a very important part of mental preparation. There are some things you can control and some that you cannot. It's better to just accept it. Now your pregnancy is done, your delivery is done, and you have got the baby home. What lies ahead? There's this kuchiku and this, wow, oh my God, what a beautiful baby. And she's sneezing and she's coughing and look, she's moving her tiny feet and she's actually looking at me. So there'll be 1,000 pics on Instagram and there will be excitement. But what do you think actually lies ahead when you get the baby home? Anybody would like to respond to this?
Confusion or need information to protect the baby.
Okay, so so there are a lot of things which happens to the woman's body, and I'd like to share this now. And I hope the men who are in here would also get some clarity about this. Prolactin rocks. Okay, so you've got the baby home. Now you're a mammal and you have to feed your baby. And your body, your brain, your mind, your hormones do everything to make it so beautiful. The hormone prolactin is what allows the mother to actually be able to breastfeed the child. And it's such a wonderful thing that as the prolactin kicks in to the body, the baby starts suckling. The uterus, which has grown so huge, actually tries and comes back to the normal size. And it's a process called as the involution of the uterus. And let me tell you this, nobody is going to ever tell you this. But as your baby suckles, as you're suckling your baby, the uterus gets this huge trigger to contract. And that contraction is so strong, you can actually shout out with that kind of contraction. That's the way it works. Also, a lot of rest is needed. Once the childbirth is done, the uterus takes up to 45 days, a minimum of 45 days to come back to its normal size. And for those many days, it's better that the mother rests and, doesn't get too excited. Anyway, with all the sleepless nights, with all the feeding, with the cleaning that is there, the mother and the father hopefully will be so very occupied. Also, most women do not realize that postpartum is after delivery. Women bleed for up to 1 month, 1 month, maybe 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And you're like, oh my God, will I ever be walking around normally, without a pad? So these are all things that lie ahead. And we need to, again, be prepared for this. If you know about it, then you will say, okay, yeah, so this is fine. At one point, when you have all that milk leakage and all that going on, you will wonder, oh my God, am I a dairy production unit? You know, is it just this? And why is this happening to me? There'll be lots of mood and hormonal changes. And oh God, is a woman to undergo all this? These are all the questions that are normal and natural, and people do ask. Another thing is postpartum depression, and I'd like to talk to this because for post my deliveries, for both the babies, I had postpartum depression. Do you know when I realized that I had postpartum depression? Maybe 5 to 6 years after my babies were born, you know. At the time when I was going through this, I didn't even realize that what I was undergoing was postpartum depression. People don't talk about this, and I'm not sure if, you know, in the childbirth centers, people even sort of prepare the woman for this. It may happen, it may not happen. But I was reading up the Indian Journal of Psychiatry, and I believe 18 to 20% of women after the delivery, they experience postpartum depression. It is very high in some of our neighboring countries. And even in India, it's about 18 to 20%, much higher in the rural areas, it seems. General tendency to cry all the time, general tendency of, you know, not being happy or cheerful, or even if you want to be happy and cheerful, it seems very artificial. The funny thing is, I went through all this and I was wondering, I mean, I'm always this energetic, cheerful, jumping, and I'm a person people come to when they feel low. And here I am feeling this way. I would actually look at my wedding photos and I would cry about why I was wearing that particular sari for the wedding. You know, it was so crazy, but it was terrible. The funny thing is, like I said, I realized that I was in postpartum depression only years later, when I read about it. I didn't even know. And then I understood the whole thing and said, oh my God, I was actually going through this. This is something that women should know, that if you are feeling these kind of changes, there is something happening in you. Just try and understand. And if you feel you need help, you should take. And the important part I want to say is that if you are depressed and your partner, you know, your spouse who is very closely connected with you, if you're really good friends, your mood can affect his mood. So it happened in my case that, you know, my mood, my postpartum depression affected him. But okay, I mean, I came out of it, I think, yeah. So that was the good thing about it. Also understand, you cannot be an experienced first-time parent. It's first time means it's first time. You cannot do everything right. You have to learn on the go. Don't blame yourself. There may be changes in your profession. You may have to, you know, give up your career. You may have to make certain changes. You'll have to plan the finances. There's so many things that are coming up. If you need help, get support. Get support in whatever way that you can. Next, we come to role of the spouse. So here again, I'd like to ask our audience, what do you think is the role of the spouse? You can share in your chat box, or you may please unmute and speak up. What do you think is the role of the spouse?
Understand the condition and help as much as possible, and don't be mistaken all the hormone imbalances and all the stuff.
Okay, so yeah, that's fair enough. I think my next slide is going to sort of tell you exactly how things are. So this is how it is, especially when you know, she's pregnant. It's her side and his side. This is the way it is, and the spouse, the husband, the poor guy, has to bear the brunt of many things without really understanding what is going through, because, you know, what the woman undergoes, the man can never undergo. He can only be a witness to all this. if the woman is able to understand what the change is, her mood changes, etc., then she'll probably be able to explain to the husband what's going on, and also, what support and help she needs. But of course, the best thing is, equal partners. Yes. So I want to tell you this, all this thing about equal partners. I think it's very, very hypothetical. What the woman goes through, what she has to do, the woman has to do. The husband can only be supportive. Maybe he can calm and soothe the woman down if she's thing. The best part you can do together is enjoy the baby. So a bonding is very important. For the woman, it's pretty natural. For the man, it takes a little more effort to bond with the baby, to understand the needs, to go through the sleepless night, to do the feeding, to do the cleaning, etc. So role of the spouse, though very, very important, is one of friendship, that you must understand what's happening and do the best you can. My last slide is the conclusion and the recap. Pregnancy and childbirth are very normal. They're natural. Take them as such. Study the process. Be curious. Be fascinated by the wonderful things that are going on. Be joyous, cheerful, patient. Love yourself. Trust your body. If you need medical help, please go seek medical help. Believe in your capability to go with it, that your body is capable of doing all this in a very normal, natural, wonderful manner. And most important, it's uterine contraction. Never connect it with the word pain. That really helps. And so I think this slide sort of, brings out whatever I was saying, that this is a mammal. For those of you who are in that stage of life, I wish you a wonderful pregnancy and a childbirth experience. Lots of love from me to all of you. Thank you so much for being here as part of this webinar. I'm very much open to taking any questions that you may have. Thank you so much once again.
Yeah, thank you, Roopaji, for sharing your experiences. The members, you can raise your hands and you can unmute, or you can unmute, and not to disturb everyone. If you have any questions and if you have any interactive discussion, please raise your hands. I'll read out the names and then you can unmute yourself. Yeah. Meanwhile, one quick feedback is that hope we have such a webinar 7 years back, and hope we have such a naturally cooling group. Hope we have a live support. Then things would have been different. That was one feedback I got, and yeah. So I think you gave only in 1 hour we can cover only introduction about it, how it was, what is supposed to be, and what happened, and what are the main pillars. But definitely in future there will be many inquiries will come. No, we want more details. We want more correspondence or coaching or guiding or mentoring. Maybe we should have a discussion about it, how to do that further. Yeah. Meanwhile, members, if you have any questions or if you want to have a discussion, please raise your hands. I think your presentation is so well that nobody have questions.
No. Or maybe, maybe they still have to plan these kind of things. I'm really not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for your comments. I can see that. Thank
Can
you
I ask
so
a question?
Yes, Karan.
Normally it is said not to travel much. Actually, I just want to know how during this pregnancy period from 0 to 9 months, how does actually this works for different people, or if you have read somewhere, it will be good if you can share.
Karun, thanks for your question. Now, the thing is that I can tell you my own experiences about travel. As long as the woman is healthy, normal, travel should not pose a problem at all. Now, if you want to go trekking, hiking, etc., I would say listen to your own body and understand whether you are fit enough to do these things. So if you are, then yes, I would say that traveling, especially if it's going to relax your mind. If you're going on a vacation, it would be fantastic. So I don't see that there is any reason why a woman should not travel while she's pregnant, as long as she's able to be good about it. As long as she has no other problems, I think there should not be a problem.
Okay. So another question here is, what kind of physical exercises did you do actually?
Okay. I have always been a very active person, and during both my pregnancies, I was a full-time working professional. So I don't know if even Sudhir knows this, but I'm a trained qualified perfusionist. Perfusionist. I would request people to check up on it. And I was with the Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences in the Department of Cardiothoracic Surgery. I worked there for 12 years with the top cardiac surgeons. The thing is that I had a lot of travel to do every single day. I used to walk to the bus stop every single day. I had to cook at home every single day. I used to wake up at 5 in the morning, sleep only by 10 at night, and it was a packed day. So I had a lot of walking in the meanwhile, a lot of standing. Apart from this, I didn't really do, weight training and those kind of heavy duty stuff, but I was physically always very active. That much I can tell you. I used to sit, stand, walk around, run to the bus stop, everything. And like I said, I used to go cycling. So these are the kind of physical exercises I did.
Okay. Yeah. Another question is, how many years can postpartum depression can impact?
There are a couple of people to whom depression can go up to a very high intensity, and they can, suffer a lot. On the other hand, there are people for whom it can be mild. So there are various degrees of depression amongst people. If you're able to recognize that you're feeling low, if you're able to be aware of this condition, and you know that you can control what you are thinking or doing, then I think it shouldn't be a huge problem. But postpartum depression can extend from many weeks to many months after delivery. Impact, again, like I said, if you are able to recognize that you are in depression and you want to seek medical help, then I think that's the way to go, that you can go for counseling, etc. But what I understand is that once the hormones and once the emotional changes and everything have sort of settled down, and once you get back to a certain routine, I think it sort of vanishes, which is what happened to me. But I do not think that it goes on for years together. But if counseling or medical help is required, then yes, it's required.
I think we completed all the questions in the group chat and as well as in the YouTube.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Any questions? We can take 2 more questions. Otherwise, we can conclude today's webinar. Yeah.
I just hope it was useful.
Yes. I mean, especially for first-time parents, it's very tense, and many people tell many things, and online have a more information. I mean, we don't know which one to understand, which one to grab, which one to discard, and there one feedback. I mean, one experience. What I was told is, a couple went to a doctor. I mean, they went to a good doctor, and they bought a lot of medicines with them. Calcium supplement, that supplement, this supplement, all the stuff. And they showed all these supplements to doctor. Doctor, can I do this? Can I do this? I can do A, B, and all the stuff. And the doctor simply smiled and said, okay, look, now you are educated, you are earning. Now you have a capacity to have a consultation with such a doctor. But think about the people who are living on the platform, on the footpath. They don't do anything, and they have many children. So pregnancy is a simply normal thing. Relax. It's natural. Let them enjoy or just go through it.
Yeah.
So such a counseling from the doctor, really their mental stress, entire thing gone out,
Yeah.
and it really helped. So I mean, that's just want to share that. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
another question is how to handle the mood swings.
Yeah, so Ram asked the question,
Yeah,
how to handle mood swing. Now, Ram, I assume that it is something that you might have experienced, or maybe you have seen it, you've witnessed it. Please understand that mood swings are a part of the normal woman's hormonal changes, the up and downs that happens with the normal woman's changes. Two things here. One is that if the woman is aware that, I have this mood swing and I'm reacting in a manner which is not appropriate. See, for example, you may just ask her, did you receive the call from the carpenter yesterday? Right? It's just a simple question. Did you receive the call from the carpenter yesterday? Maybe she's going to shout. She's going to say this, that, everything. See, it's a simple question. The appropriate response is not there. It's an inappropriate response. So if that is due to a mood swing, then I would suggest, just leave her alone. Yeah, just leave her alone for some time, and maybe that day or the next day she'll understand and she'll say, yeah. So so maybe she's going to say, look, I'm sorry, I responded or reacted this way. Another way that I can give you a suggestion is that, let us say there's an inappropriate response. Okay, inappropriate response. So for example, you have said, did you call my mom? Maybe you just asked her, did you call my mom? And the response was very inappropriate. Maybe you can just sit and tell her that, is there any other way that you could have responded? Just ask that simple question. After a short while, is there any other way that you could have responded? Do you have an option to respond in a different way? Just ask that question and try it a couple of times. Maybe it will help. This is what I would suggest, because suppose you can even do that with small kids, So if the child is throwing a tantrum, you can say, what is the other thing that you can do? What are the options that you have? An adult will be able to understand this much better. But even children know this, that they have an option to behave and respond in a different way. And if you're hurt, if you're okay, so yeah, I read that. But if you're hurt by the mood change, then you should let that person know. You should let your wife know that your response is causing me hurt. I'm hurt. Just go calm, go silent, and just see what happens. But you should let the person know that, see, I understand you're going through a lot. Okay, you're going through a lot. I understand that. But you must understand that I am hurt as well. Okay, you must understand I am hurt. So please, Radhika or Rani or whoever it is, please understand I am hurt. So is there a different way to respond? I'm your friend, okay? So respond to me in a way that will make me also happy. I think you should just say this in a very calm and a cool manner, and just see what happens.
yeah. I think with this we have covered all the questions. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing my own echo. Yeah, with this, we conclude this today's webinar. Yeah, thank you all, and thank you, Roopaji, for sharing your wonderful experiences. Your narration was very good and very super, and many people can connect, can correlate, can remember. Yeah, and sure, definitely we'll do a webinar series with you. We have such a wonderful topic and such a wonderful experiences. And parenting is not going to be parenting webinars are not going to complete within few weeks and months. And I'm sure with the expertise we have and experts we have, the different from ancient to traditional to modern, what we have, I think for another 2 to 3 years, I'm going to continue this webinars on parenting. Yeah, thank you all. With this, we'll conclude.
Thank you so much.